hello everyone, and welcome to today's live session. And today we're gonna have Aisha, who specializes in change, and she is a change specialist. And we'll be able to talk about, how you can think and join your higher self. And so, let's invite Angela, Aisha here, so that we can get started.
There she is.
Hey,
Hello.
how guys?
I'm sorry.
How are you doing today? How are you?
I'm doing well. Oh no, what's happened? Did you X out of the screen?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my first time sort of doing live together as well, so no problem.
That's okay.
So so Aisha, why don't you just introduce yourself to the live and tell us, what you do?
Okay. Well, I'm a clinical specialist by day, and I like to say, like, in the intervening hours, I tend to moonlight as a change specialist. So I usually work with high achievers who are looking to create change in their lives. I'm sorry, I just woke up a little while ago, and I think my throat's a little scratchy.
Yep, you're for your meditation. I know.
So I help high achievers create change in their life, whether they're looking to overcome a difficult problem, a difficult situation, or they're looking to up level their professional life, their personal life. So basically, change in any capacity, getting them grounded to the state of self awareness where they want it for themselves and it's not something that because the world is a very loud place and social media is like sort of everywhere and we constantly feed ourselves information, and you want to make sure at the end of the day that your change is aligned to you and not
Mhm.
something that you've absorbed from someone else, your peer.
Oh, I
Yeah.
So it's less about, comparison and more about finding your true self.
Finding your true self in the present moment, because at the end of the day, yourself also evolves over time. You're not the same person you were 5 or 10 years ago. And, you
Oh.
know, it keeps changing over time. And we've put ourselves in these finite blocks of existence. We're
Mhm.
defined by our jobs, our identities are tied to what we're doing in the present. And we think this is it, this is all we're ever going to be for, like, I don't know, the next 10, 11 years of your life. And that's a scary thought to have, And I want to get people to that fluid state. Like, be our greatest skill, if you really want to live and thrive in your life, is adaptability and agility.
Uh-huh. So you told me like we chat before this, obviously, but what is the easiest way for everyone here to understand, subconscious rewiring, either via neuroplasticity, dehypnosis, or biohacking?
All right. To put it in an oversimplification way is we only consciously live 5%
Oh,
of your
only
entire
five.
functioning capacity of the brain in a day. Everything else is happening on autopilot. And that is great because imagine if you had to think to breathe,
Right, right.
right? So you need a lot of stuff to happen on autopilot. So, you can do other things in life that would require you to make choices. But at the same time, we've done a fantastic job of putting ourselves in these, again, boxes where we're like, okay, I know I wake up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, I don't know, whatever else I do in the bathroom. And then I go, I make my
Mhm.
breakfast, I get dressed, I go to work. I work, I
Mhm.
come back, I have my lunch, I maybe socialize with a few people. I finish my day, I come home,
Mhm.
I shower, I don't know, I sit on Netflix the rest of the evening and I go to sleep. And this is again very oversimplified. I'm not saying everybody's just that lazy. We're all just like sitting and watching Netflix the rest all evenings. But it's just we've put ourselves in these finite boxes. So what we when we talk about subconscious rewiring, that's more digging into your subconscious mind to change conscious patterns. So the way I would oversimplify that is, for example, we're all used to brushing our teeth with our right hand, for example.
Right.
And So the left hand is completely dormant in this capacity. There are no neurons firing to keep that awake. And okay, so I can do this activity heterodextrally, and I can do it with my left hand as well. So if you start doing that, you'll also notice throughout the day the choices you would have generally made on autopilot, like, yeah, I drink 2 glasses of water when I'm standing next to the water cooler. Your brain's asking you, so why do we want to do that? It's
Oh.
like a ripple effect. You got to create it from your subconscious linked to your conscious. And it's
Mhm.
by tweaking and changing very small habits. Because again, if you disrupt too much too soon, your brain will your whole body, your brain, your spirit, everything will immediately go into survival mode. And it's like, no, I don't want to do this because we already know how to function. We've already laid a foundation of what's helping us get through our days.
Mhm.
So to get to that state of agility, you start with like tweaking very, very small
Tweaking.
habits. On
So is that well, sorry, it's just
Go ahead.
so it's just for, are you tweaking for, your optimized health basically? Like we're leading ourselves into like thinking just from either using your left hand to brush your teeth or, rethinking about what we do throughout the day. Is that, to optimize our health, for the better?
Yes. Again, this is like a very old this is something and I want to touch base on with you as well with this was it always starts at the very foundational basics. So where's your nutrition at? Where's your biochemistry at? If there's one little hormone out of whack, women will resonate with this. Think your estrogen is a little bit out of whack, what kind of havoc your day is. And it's like, no one talk to me, no one come near me. And this is just a very, very small example. And just like we're made of a cascade of biochemicals. So where your foundational nutrition is at, where's your biochemistry at? You take your change from that point because if you're not eating right for you, again, it's very different for everybody. If your
Mhm.
biochemistry is not right for you, there's only so much coaching and mentoring you can absorb before your body will go back to, or your brain will go back to what is normal for it, because it has no room. It's just basically running on fumes and trying to survive with the habits that you've already created, with the food that isn't good for it, with the hormones that are completely out of whack, with your biochemistry just like sort of like, okay, at least we're getting through the day. At least we're getting through the day. She's still breathing. He's still breathing. We're still doing the thing of existing because that's what you're supposed to do. So, yeah, that makes sense.
So, oh wow. So your optimal biochemistry is sort of like something that helps you, move along with your fitness and health basically. So, we try to, do the right thing, eat the right thing, do workout, and then through those our actions, like our, biochemistry would respond to that. Oh wow. Okay. I'm learning something new today.
Because I mean, I always use my own examples
Right.
of how much trouble I had with my own biochemical makeup. And again, we always start with changing yourself and optimizing yourself before you can actually help someone else. And you wouldn't even be aware of it and what are the changes that you need to make, and how you can help someone else. If like, I'm basically like floating through my day and I had so much brain fog, I was malnourished. It was a cascade of problems. Um, but and it took a while to actually find out what my normal numbers were because every time I would go get tested, which is also another conversation where there's such a huge gap between what is normal and what is normal for you on a bunch of tests that
Mm.
you will do just to see where do you fit at in on that range, and finding out what my normal levels were or was out of whack for me and what did I need to tweak to actually start waking up. And this was so strange to me because I always had this like really huge fog starting around like 12 p.m. in the afternoon, going all the way to 4 or 5 p.m. And then, I would drop and it was the cortisol was like, okay, it's the end of the day, it's time to go to sleep. But I was like so used to staying in that stage of brain fog. I never even thought that it could be any different than that until it
Oh.
was. And like, you start going down that rabbit hole, like you're exploring things, you're in labyrinths, like, okay, I'm doing I'm reading up on this research, I'm reading up this medical journal, I'm reading up this holistic approach, this alternative medical approach to figuring out what is wrong with my biochemistry. And then you're like, oh my God, this is what's happening. And it's still not ticking because it's still only theory until you implement the steps. And oh my, when I woke up, it was so strange. Like I was in my early 20s and it was such a weird feeling because I spent like 2 decades of my life in that state and it worked. I mean, I was still getting on day in, day out, but it was a revelation when I was awake. And I was like, oh my God, I can do all of these things. And then of course I was doing even more research into biochemistry to see like how much more of an impact it can have on me as an individual. And then it's like energy attracts energy. Then you start like having people come and talk to you about this because they're noticing sort of a difference in you. And the statement I always heard was, you're changing. And sometimes it was a good statement, sometimes not so well because people get used to you being a certain way, I guess. So that was really interesting. But then I started having people come to me, talk to me about like, so what am I doing differently? And then of course everyone has a different issue that they're talking to you about. It's like, okay, I have to do more research for this particular person. I have to do more research for this particular person. So like most of the certifications and additional.
Oh my God, it's so bad. I'm sorry, like just
No,
random
I mean,
spam calls
this is
again.
amazing, right? Like in my view, it's like, oh, this is imperfect, perfect action right there. Like this is how you take messy action and get things
Yeah,
done. And you're like, I'm not gonna let a little blip in technology stop me from getting my message out there. You know? So
I know. Well, then let's touch base on the level of awareness and focus of attention for most academics and entrepreneurs because I think most of people here would fall into one of those buckets or even both.
true. Um, the way I look at it, and this is a lot of data driven, collecting information, making lots of Excels, because I love that because then I can look and actually see facts for myself. And that resonates with me a lot more. And I talked about this in the very beginning is the level of awareness that we have. And what I mean by that is, like I said, the world is a really loud place. We're constantly being fed external information and you're constantly absorbing it. You're constantly absorbing it. And this is one of the things that I tell my clients, one of the first things I tell my clients is we need to find space in your day, at least 10 minutes, where you walk into a room. You've got to have a room in your apartment that is the where you can remove everything electronic for 10 minutes outside and just sit in absolute silence. And 10 minutes for a beginner who's never disconnected themselves from their whatever devices, like now it's your cell phone, your iPad, your MacBook Pro, my laptop, my TV. It's like, oh my God, the radio in your the devices in your car. So it's a lot. So 10 minutes in a day where you can like sit in absolute silence. And in the beginning, it's a lot of this monkey jibber jabber, the monkey mind that doesn't shut up. It's like the list of things it's making, what I was gonna do. What are all the things you didn't think of in the last 5, 6 years? What was a toxic relationship that I was involved in 10 years ago that I haven't thought of? All this stuff comes to the surface because what we're trying to accomplish is this connection to your inner self, and that's your subconscious mind, your higher self. Like people have different phrases for it, like depending who you're following and where you're getting your sources of information from. So, in order to for academics and entrepreneurs, you'll see like they're very driven. They're gung ho. Like no matter what the circumstances, we will turn it around. We're very resourceful. We'll figure out a way to get things done. But a lot of the time, are you getting that thing done because it's you? It's part of your identity. It's what you want to do, or is it being fed to you? And I used an example of doctors. It's like we're at a very early age for a path that is already defined for you. It's like, and again, not discriminating, but in our culture, the South Asian culture, we have this like you're either a doctor, you're an engineer, and if you failed at those two things, you're an accountant. It's very sad. And you go to school, you go to college, you go to university, and it's already decided for you. You're going to be a doctor, and you're going to be a doctor for the rest of your life. And what if you want to break out of that mold? I did. I didn't want to be following that straight and narrow path of like I'm a doctor and that's the only way I can help. I was happy with it for a while, And when I did the work, it was great, but after a while, it just stopped aligning. It just wasn't me anymore. But I was constantly hearing statements like, but you're so ungrateful, like you're so high up there and you're such a difference in the world. And my heart was in this place of like, yeah, but there's got to be other ways to help people. This isn't the only way. And then, of course, I started informally working with clients one on one. And I would be more excited about that than what I was doing as a physician, which in my head was also okay. But something I couldn't talk about, it was a very lonely journey of like, I wanted to break out of the mold, the traditional path that was designed for me. But I had to make those changes step by step for myself, all by myself. So all these additional certifications, the NLP, the EFT, the time techniques that everyone found on because it's bogus certifications, it doesn't fall into the mold of science-backed information. And in my brain, it goes, yeah, but we kind of need everything to work together. You need your medicine, your physiology, your chiropractors, your physiotherapists, all of the other holistic approaches to kind of fall into place for a person to be treated optimally in order to get them to the next step. So, it's lonely, it's sad, but it brings me so much joy. I'd go to sleep like a baby. Like the minute I hid it from everybody and I went really quiet and underground with myself. But I was really happy. And then it was time to let go. Like, okay, no longer going to be a physician, going to switch over to corporate consultancy because that's going to make more sense. It will be more aligned. And again, was happy with that for a while until the next voice started coming in here like, yeah, now we got to go. The place is no longer making sense. We've done to here. And now it's time to move on to the next steps. And I think where the level of awareness comes in is in my early 20s because I was in that brain fog state. And when I woke up, when I say I was studying my biochemistry and everything and figuring out what were the pieces that weren't working for me, I also took like this 7 to 8 month hiatus where I was completely disconnected from technology. And it was just me and myself trying to figure out what I wanted, where my awareness was. Like for the longest time, I couldn't hear my own voice. It was just information that I had collected from outside. And whatever my expressions of my own DNA were, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. I could regurgitate a lot of really valuable information that I had collected over the years. And I'm a nerd, so like if you're talking to me about something, if I've read about it, I'll be able to like repeat information backwards to you. But I wasn't making the unique connections for myself. Because again, yes, and I'm very I solidly back, getting your formal education. I'm not saying everybody should drop out of school and we should all like be figuring out our own paths, but like allow yourself to make mistakes. The things that I didn't allow myself to, because it wasn't okay. You couldn't make mistakes. So allow yourself to make those mistakes and figure out like what fits earlier on, because then it's course correction like 20 years backwards takes a lot from you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And this is why I'm very deep into neuroplasticity as well, because your brain is like plastic clay.
Right.
You can keep molding it depending on what kind of thoughts you're practicing on a regular basis. And we never think that we're practicing our thoughts. Because, it's always happening. You're thinking of something right now while you're talking to me. Our brain is huge. This isn't the only conversation you're having. Your brain is having like 20 other conversations in the background. But we never think, like, how am I taking control of those thoughts in the direction that will serve me in the best way? And when we do, it's really hard because, again, you don't want to spend calories on how I change this thought, how am I going to look at this differently? It just seems so overwhelming. So those 10 minutes a day, just sitting with yourself away from technology, is a great place to start to find out where your level of awareness is currently at and how much work you actually need to get to developing a connection between where you're at now and where maybe you would like to. I don't know. I'm a change specialist today. I don't know. From now, I want to teach people how to run businesses. I don't know how to do that now, and it's not my passion at the moment. But going over my experiences and time, creating those experiences, making those mistakes, I might find out 5, 6 years down the road, hey, I like doing this other thing. because now I'm at that place where I can say, like, I create change very frequently and I'm very comfortable with it. But people look at me like, what is wrong with you?
Oh.
But my fluid state keeps me adaptable, it keeps me agile, and it also helps me get other people to that level. And I was doing this exercise a little while ago where with a business coach where she said, get your credibility markers from someone else. Cara Barone, she's amazing. Um, one of her exercises was ask your friends and colleagues, like people that are really close to you, that know you, that have spent some time with you, um, what your credibility markers are, because a lot of the time we don't give ourselves enough credit for what our skills and talents and things are. And the thing that I found constantly was I'm very resourceful and I'm very tenacious, and I have this energetic pull that grabs people from where they are and pulls them up to where they want to see themselves to be. And I can get people to stay very committed to whatever they're trying to accomplish. And for the longest time, I wasn't even thinking those things. I was just like, so these are my certifications. That's what's backing me up. That's what's backing me up. I need this. I need this. I need this. Without realizing that I had taken all of those certifications, translated that into my own experience. And that was my actual qualification. All the mistakes that I have made are my qualifications. All the things that I had done wrong are my qualifications, because I've learned from those and learned to improve on it and create change for myself. And by doing that, making room within my own life, my own conscious state, for other people to walk into that space and help them create change from there. Because a lot of the time it's scary, it's overwhelming. I felt a lot of shame and fear, and it was terrifying just doing it all on my own and wondering, like, okay, the one or two people I have mentioned this to in detail, are they right? Am I really ungrateful? Am I really crazy? No, I don't think I am. It can be a lonely journey, and
Right.
it's nice when you have your village. You have the right group of people around you that will push you in the right direction and that will call you out on your shit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah. You don't need friends that will just be like, oh, okay, oh, okay, oh, okay for everything. And then neither of you are going in any which direction. You need people that will be like, yeah, that's completely shit. And this is what I tell my clients. Like, if it doesn't sit right, say it out loud. Like, that's absolutely shit. And it works, because then the other 200 or 300 tools I've got sitting in my back pocket, I can now start exploring those and see, like, okay, how about we try this for you? Because different things work for different people. Like, something that could be my superpower could be your kryptonite. I use the example of moringa here. Like, moringa is an amazing superfood. It has so many benefits. I take it and then I'm sitting on the toilet seat for the next 30 minutes. This is not a pleasant experience, but I've given it to a lot of clients and they've benefited from it. And then, of course, I would go back, like, I went through like a whole 14 to 21 days of trying to take it at different times. And I was just like, maybe I'm like not eating the right things with it. But that's not the point of that superfood. It's like I should be able to accommodate it to my diet and reap the benefits. But 21 days of like spending that much time on the bathroom seat, like, I'm not doing this again. But again, people are benefiting from it. Yeah.
Right, you're right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So just to summarize everything you've said, like it was a lot.
Yeah.
So for somebody to be on the level of the awareness from the outside in, I feel like the first step you said was going to a room without any electronics for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Start with
to reflect of
but really
yeah, and then the next step seems to be like just asking other people about what they think of you, like, what are you, famous for,
yeah,
per se,
credibility.
what kind of skills. And then, you know, the third one, I mean, is, just be conscious that just because something worked for other people, it might not work for you. Is that the three steps that you would like to touch base? Because like it was a very long.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear your question. You were sort of like frozen and like this the cursor is moving in circles. So I'm sorry. I didn't really hear your question. Now you're fine.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I just want to confirm those are the three steps that we all need to take
Those are,
today, like to change ourselves. right?
Mm.
So let's see if the audience have any. So do you just have any questions for either me or Dr. Aisha, because she is a doctor, into the comment box, so um so that we can answer your questions really quickly before the end of this, because I know she has a lot of things to do. This is part of her morning meditation, so I'm not sure like how hard she's gonna go next.
I'm okay. I'm okay, really. Like I carved out time for this. This is also important for me. So yeah,
Mhm.
you're okay.
All right. So I think that's all we have for today. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Dr. Aisha, for coming over to share your knowledge with all of us. It was very mind blowing, and I feel like I do those the same thing, but I'm not realizing that. Yes, as an entrepreneur, I did like do a bit of reflection, but I'm not realizing that is super beneficial for
Yeah.
me. So thank you so much for that. And you all have a great day, and I will end the live
All right.
now. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.